Hello, everybody. This is Jarod, the non-alcoholic aficionado, and I've got Laura Silverman to help out on our podcast today. Sponsored by Go Brewing. We've got two beers to drink. One is the Head on American Wheat, and the other is the Jab Jab Grapefruit
Oh, blurry.
IPA. Don't be
Yes.
blurry.
Hold on. No, it's fine. It's not a tech issue. It's a look better issue. But now you can see my beers. Cheers.
I'll unblur as well, so we're good. We got
Okay.
both beers.
Excellent. Excellent. Hello,
All right,
everyone.
so
Sorry for the
thanks
mess.
for hopping on, Laura. Appreciate your time. We are gonna drink some Go beers. What's your favorite Go beer? The
Favorite of
very
all time
yes,
is
all
the
time.
Jab Jab Grapefruit IPA. I
Well,
love
we're
this so
drinking, so
much.
it's good timing.
It was the very first beer that I have written a review on, and
Cool.
it was back in the um these were the days where they had some sort of like limited pilot brew, and I loved it so much that I and so many other people. It was I begged them, like I said, with so many other people, to bring this into their regular rotation, and they listened. Joe and Heather and their team did a fantastic job, and it is my favorite thing. I liken it to grapefruit spindrift and a really good IPA had a baby, and that's what it's like. Grapefruit spindrift is the best. So, mm.
Okay. Lemon Spindrift in my. Oh, did you go with the Jab Jab? I just poured out American Wheat.
Yeah, I said the Jab Jab Grapefruit IPA is my favorite. So, and then you're like, good taste, and you poured out the other one. So I have no idea what's happening, but I just followed my heart, Jarod.
You're drinking out of the can, so you can double fist. You can drink
I
whatever
can
one
do
you
that.
want.
Yes, yes. So this is the Lazy Girl's Guide to Drinking NA beer. I will say that something that I've learned from my AFNA aficionado
Yep.
certification with Megan Anderson and her team, and
It is.
also
It is. It is true.
judging experience at the World Alcohol Free Awards, that we taste with our eyes, with our nose, and of course with our mouth. So I'm doing
Yep.
myself a bit of a disservice by not being able to see the beer, but I'm tired of washing dishes. It's like grape nuts in my sink. It just keeps reproducing and reproducing, and I'm not having it tonight. So I'm drinking out of a can. Thank you very much.
Here's to
Trying the
that.
Head on American Wheat for the first time. Let's
Oh,
not
for
spill anything
real?
off the top. Yeah.
I wonder if you're gonna think what I think. I think it's like a blue moon with less orange.
Okay. You know what? I saw that it has with orange peel, and I was thinking immediately that's kind of like a blue moon. I feel like the
It's just
orange could be dialed up a bit. I like orange. And
maybe it might it could be. I think the happy medium might be from between this and what Blue Moon is. But Blue Moon is like so orange heavy.
yeah,
Maybe
you're right.
somewhere
And
in the
if
middle
there's
would
too
be.
much orange, it can feel a little like, are they trying too hard? No,
Yeah.
this is really good. I've never had it before. I've never had it before because when I buy Go, I'm like, look, I don't have any business buying more and more and more. My apartment is like a ridiculous explosion of beverages. But when I buy the grapefruit IPA, and I buy which I see is sold out currently, but the street cred nitro street cred, the stout, which I hope is coming back at some point. Maybe it's just a seasonal thing, summer, but I drink stouts in the summer still. So as long as I'm in my air conditioning, it's fine. It doesn't, yeah. So I
The
love
donut,
both of those.
the donut kill my vibe.
Yes. Oh, that was
That
so
one's so
good.
fun.
I
Yeah, so
attempted to
listen.
name it. I joined that contest. I don't remember
Oh,
what I
cool.
called. I don't remember what I called mine, but it might have been something related to Darth Vader. Like something about the dark side, which I thought was
Nice.
pretty good, but donut kill my vibe. That worked too. Okay, I feel another burp coming on. Maybe I should mute myself. Hold on. Okay, I muted myself. Look, I'm telling you, everyone, Jarod has not burped once. We're drinking 3 beers, or 2 for this show, but we had one in our pre-call, and he has not let one loose yet. So I don't think
Oh,
he's
I'm
human.
holding
I
it
think
in.
he's made of AI. Whereas I am a human who burps with 2 beers. Just letting you all know.
The most I've done on camera was an hour-long conversation with Ryan Good from the MNNA beer, and we did the equivalent of 5 12-ounce cans in an hour, and that was a
Oof,
lot. That was
my
a
stomach
lot of
feels ginormous just hearing that. Yeah.
it.
And you didn't burp once.
Oh, I'm sure I burned.
Okay. Like I know I'm saying the word a lot on camera, but I just want to prove the point that we're still drinking beer. It doesn't have alcohol in it, but it's still beer.
Still
So like
burnt.
it's gonna happen.
So,
Yeah.
Laura, not
Yes.
Sarah, Laura,
That's
tell
right.
me about Zero Proof Nation, your platform. Because I want to learn more about it. I've seen it, I've tested it out, I've looked at the full list of all your various arrangements, varieties of beverages that are out there, which is super
It's
inclusive.
totally not, it's not
Not
comprehensive by
full.
any, I
There's
mean,
so much
it's,
out there.
yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
the map.
Yeah. So, okay, there's a lot there. I do want to shout out a couple of things before I get into talking about my stuff. But
Sure.
for all of the latest product launches, this didn't exist for a while. So I was just researching and researching, and that's how I found out about things. But now I get some of my information direct to inbox with a subscription to Mock the Toast newsletter, Dry Atlas newsletter, and the Modern Substitute. And they all have really great product launch recaps so I can see what's new in NA. If I don't know about it, they're going to know about it. And then there are two apps that I use called Better Without and BuzzCut. They're NA locators that are really driven by regional and national distribution. So you're going to find places that have some of the independent brands, but really more of the larger brands that are distributed on a regional or national basis. And I use both of those apps and I love them. Okay, let's talk about me. So, Zero Proof Nation is the culmination of many years of research and passion for the adult NA beverage space. My why, before I get into the nitty gritty of like what it is that I have been sober for 17 years now, celebrated on Sunday the 14th. And for the longest time, I didn't have options when I was socializing, whether I went to just a happy hour for a friend who was moving away, or I was, in a wedding or at a wedding, New Year's Eve celebration, ballparks, concerts. Like I've done it all because I've been sober my entire adulthood. And really, for the bulk of that, there weren't any options that felt like they were on the same level as their alcoholic counterparts. And so I know intimately well what it's like to feel ostracized, to feel othered, and to not have any kind of hospitality catered to me. And that was my biggest driving force in doing what I'm doing, and it really still continues to be. I want people to feel part of rather than excluded. I want people to feel included, and I want there to be options for everyone, no matter if they are moderating, cutting back, quitting entirely, or just taking a break for the night. I mean, everyone deserves options. So that's my ethos, that's my philosophy, and what that has basically turned into on my website. I wanted to create a platform that was just chock full of resources for people who are looking for places, for brands, for other people to connect with, and for retailers where they could find and buy these beverages. And it just kind of grew over time, in real time, as a result of the pandemic. I did a lot of work as we all were sort of at home for a while and just kind of seeing what was happening around us. And yeah, so it started out as a very small beverage directory and an Instagram feed where I really wanted to, before there were these things called NA bottle shops, which we see all over the country and the world now, I wanted to sort of peel the curtain behind a founder's story and ask them why they were making something non-alcoholic when at the time it might have made more sense financially. Certainly it would have been more popular. Their story might have resonated with the majority of people if it had been an alcoholic beverage. But most, and that's a gross generalization, but we were definitely at a time where people weren't as receptive and open to non-alcoholic options. And I was deeply interested in why someone would want to start a beverage that wasn't filled with booze. And they usually had an interesting story. It was compelling in some way, shape, or form, whether it was their own journey, health and wellness, or sobriety, or someone in their family, or they were just getting older and didn't want to deal with hangovers anymore, or whatever it is. Like, and even if it's a good business opportunity and it's not necessarily so rooted in story, they're still providing options to the end consumer. So that's kind of the genesis of things. And then as these non-alcoholic bottle shops and booze-free bars, whether they were brick and mortar, pop-ups, mobile mixologists, catering services, or e-commerce retailers, whatever, as they started to just like expand and expand and expand, and I added them to this like growing directory, which I kind of soon became known as the directory girl. Like, oh, Laura from Zero Proof Nation has a list of all of the bottle shops or a list of all the bars. And then I wanted to see it in a way that I wouldn't have to scroll down a screen over and over and over. I wanted to see it like, how is it actually mapped out globally? Like, how can we see this industry in an actual, like, what's the word? I mean, it's a data visualization. You're seeing what is going on in a way that's a little more words. You guys, it's the evening. It's like late, and I can't figure out what I'm trying to say. But it's like it has more like weight to it when you can see it on a map than if you're just like scrolling down a screen and looking at a bunch of logos. And so last year, I would say just a little over a year ago, I launched this map, which at the time probably had like, well, when I launched it and I was ready to share the link with the world, I had already done a ton of work, but it was still only about like maybe 100 locations. And that was spread out across e-commerce, brick and mortar, pop-ups, all of that. Now, I mean, I can only ever get it to the point of being like 85 to 90% representative of what's happening in the world, because there's always something new that's opening. There's a new beer garden in Munich, Germany, that just opened today called Die Null. And of course, that's not on the map yet because it just opened today. So there's so many things, but I would say we're probably over 300 individual locations that I am aware of, and just hit 100,000 views of the map this week. So that's just really exciting, but that's my story.
How fitting that the 100,000 was at the same type of time frame as your 17-year anniversary. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you're right. It was like a day or two apart. It's so cool. Yeah, a lot of like numerology there. There's something pretty momentous on both sides, but I know that for sure probably 2,000 of those views are me, because every time I make an update, it counts as a view. I can't really tell you how many individual people are looking at this thing, but I can pretty much guarantee that there are probably like 50,000 individual people who have looked at this and used it in some way, shape, or form. And that, I mean, that's great for my ego, but what it really is good for is showing that there are people that want to find options, and whether it's locally in their backyard, or maybe they want to plan a trip and include non-alcoholic beverages on their trip. Maybe they're going, on a cruise and they're allowed to bring some stuff with them, or maybe they're flying to the UK and want to know what's going on in the UK or Germany or Australia. So it allows for exploration in your backyard, but it also allows for exploration when you're traveling. And I think that's rooted out of my own childhood. My father's a retired US diplomat. I grew up overseas. I spent most of my childhood in Latin America and also the Middle East, and a little bit in the States. So I'd only lived in the States for 4 years before I went to college, and I certainly didn't feel quintessentially American, whatever that means. But I think a lot of my interest in what's happening beyond the US, and certainly beyond my own area, my own region, is because I had this exposure to different cultures and different lifestyles growing up. And I think in retrospect, I can see how that sort of informed the way that I'm even reporting on this industry.
I like that angle. It's a holistic view versus, a honed in like US centric. I totally get that.
Yeah. I mean, the US has done a fantastic job being
Yeah.
from the US. We like to do things bigger and better. That's sort of our MO, but hat tip and hats off to the UK, who a lot of people don't realize it or wouldn't think it of the United Kingdom, but they really helped get this whole thing started. And so is it possible we've outpaced them? I mean, maybe, but they're still innovating all the time. They're not getting bored with it. They're doing their thing, and the rest of Europe is full of innovation. Australia, lots of
Yep.
stuff there, and we're starting to see some interesting things happening in pockets of the world that we might not have expected. There's finally some stuff happening in Central and South America, very nascent, but it's happening. There's a little bit in Africa. There's a little bit in the Middle East, other parts of Oceania as well. So we just need Antarctica. Like, we need some researchers to open up a bottle shop or something there, and then we'll be like on all 7 continents.
For sure. Very cool. Well, in all of my networking, we connected, and I post regularly to LinkedIn about my efforts in the NA scene, which is more or less Instagram and YouTube focused, and some Facebook and LinkedIn. But really, my channel.
Like and.
It's focused, but it's broad. It's all it is yeah. So, but YouTube as the backbone in terms of content and reviews and tours, interviews, and all that fun stuff, and conversations like we're having today. But the other stick in the fire is the Go Brewing ambassadorship, which is worth noting, as we are drinking.
We love Go.
Multiple Go
fan.
Beers. Yep, we got it. We got it to represent.
You. Oh my gosh, look at my nails, by the way. Ooh, that's a match. That is a match.
and with that, I gotta throw up a plug and props to Go for helping provide the beer for this podcast and putting the effort out there to allow me to do this type of work, and just letting me to be a part of the organization in the ambassador element. Basically for the past month or so, I think 4 weeks as of today, I've been pushing and proposing and trying to place Go Brewing with restaurants, bars, breweries, and arcades. There's one arcade that took on Go Brewing, which is cool. They have a mini golf,
like video game type place.
It is an old school retro arcade with an art focused mini golf indoor facility with a bar and a tap room where you can like use a credit card and like get all your tap beers, and a concert venue all in one. And it's in the basement of this old plant. It is awesome. It's called Can Wonderland.
Can Wonderland. That sounds like my jam.
You would love it. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so fun. I have to go visit sometime. I have lots of friends in the NA space in Minneapolis. Do you know Kate Faulkner from the Zero Proof Collective?
Yep. And Jen Gilhoy?
Yeah, and Jen Gilhoy. Yeah, they're wonderful people, and I'm long overdue. I've never been to Minnesota before, so
well, you should come then. I'm actually meeting with Jen next week, and the gal who started or is starting Lucille's Bottle Shop in St. Paul.
Yes, Lucille's. Is that Alexandra
Stauner, I believe?
Yeah. Also, we should say hello to Ashley Sunderland. Is that her last name? Yep. Yeah, she's doing really amazing. I love reading what she's up to on the Sober Curator and seeing her posts on LinkedIn. And very proud of you, Ashley. Keep going.
She's hustling.
Yeah.
So that Can Wonderland was solid. I reached out and I knew they had an athletic golden, the upside down, because I've been there and
that's my dad's favorite.
That's all they had. They had like that one beer and then probably 30 regular drinks or beers in their tap room. And I showed up. We had the sour, the pills, the double IPA, and the tropical. And the gal tried all of them, and she's like, "I like that sour." And I'm like, "Okay." but what about the double IPA? She's like, I like that too, but I want to have one. I was like, you got to
Why
have
just
two.
one? Okay, two.
If you have two, then they'll play off each other, and people will maybe start with one and then do the
Yes.
other, and then you just doubled your sale.
Yeah.
So I'm
Okay.
trying to
Well
figure out
done.
where they're gonna land with that. But the net is these face-to-face interactions with people that I'm communicating with and dropping in on and setting meetings with and doing tastings is eye-opening because it's like this the Go beer is in theory probably one of the first craft focused NA beers that they've had if they're a new drinker to in the
Hmm.
space. They may have had the O'Doul's or the Heineken or the Athletic or any of the stuff that's more readily available, but this is not readily available just yet. It's on the move and it's on the upward trajectory. And especially
Right.
here in Minnesota, there's nowhere to get it unless you know about it and you buy it online. So that's been
But
the
I mean,
fun part.
also, I'm a huge Go Brewing fan, and Heather and Joe know that and their team. And like, let's just say,
It's
but
in
like,
bottle shops. Sorry, it's in bottle shops. I should say that.
right.
It is
No,
in
but I was I
bottle
was just gonna say, like, Athletic is still craft beer, and it started out as a
shops.
tiny little craft brewery. So, and that's hopefully the direction that Go is going in,
Yeah.
like larger. But again, I wouldn't lump Athletic with O'Doul's. Like, let's be nice here.
Yep. I totally agree.
Yeah.
You're right.
Also, I've never actually tried O'Doul's. That's a bad thing for me to admit online on air, but I was never really okay. Let's just have a total honest fest right now. I was not into the idea of beer when I got sober and like well into my sobriety because all I knew of beer was bad beer. All I had
Yep.
in college was Natty Light, Keystone Light, all the nasty light beers that were like nasty that
Yep.
basically tasted what I thought pee might taste like. Um, they're so watered down and so icky. And I never tried craft alcoholic beer before, so I didn't know what that could be. My first craft beer foray was in the NA space, and the two brands that I had first were Athletic and Groovy.
Yep.
And I still poured a lot of beer down the sink because I didn't understand the ABV content. I didn't understand what that meant. There weren't a lot of people doing education around what alcohol by volume meant. And so I unfortunately wasted a lot of product in the early days, but they were my first introductions to craft NA beer, and man, has the scene just completely exploded since. And it's such a fun thing to watch. And now, like, if you ask me what my favorite type of beverage is, like, I love all of it, I do, but like I've become an NA beer person. Like, I love it so much. I'm obsessed. Obsessed.
My fridge is chock full, not just because I bring stuff to venues, but because I like having a lot of stuff in the fridge. I will say I do buy Athletic. I love Athletic. I wasn't trying to dog Athletic.
No,
Um,
no, I'm just saying, like, you can see the Heinekens, the O'Doul's, the
yes.
Budweiser lights, but like I would still put,
All I
yeah,
was saying is the stuff that is everywhere, like the
yeah,
ubiquitous NA beer is what I see in trying to go in different venues. There's Athletic, there's O'Doul's, and there's Heineken. Those are the ones that people have. And to a degree, Just the Haze and Blue Moon and potentially Guinness. Those are really what I've seen in the past
yeah,
month, what people have. So what I'm saying, besides the bottle shops here in Minnesota, you can't really get it unless you know, and you can't get it unless you know about it. And last week I had a
until
tasting
you
at,
came along, because now
that's
you're
right,
you're helping make
that's
that
right.
happen.
Yes, and I had a tasting at a bottle shop it's called Zero Proof Beverage House last week, and we did Go Brewing tasting, and there were some people that were like, I don't like beer. They tried it, and they're like, oh, that's really good. Or they were like, yeah, I'll try it, but I don't really like IPAs. I was like, okay, we'll try the fruity IPA or the grapefruit IPA. And like, oh, that's not super hoppy. I actually like that.
Yeah,
Which this grapefruit IPA is not very hoppy, and it's very fruity, and it's delicious.
yeah,
Are you
yeah. I
drinking
mean,
that one now?
yeah, I've been drinking it. I haven't had much of the wheat, comparatively speaking, but again, like, I'm basically drinking 3 beers, which for me, like, I'll probably go throughout my day. I drink a lot of NA beverages throughout the day, whether they're the beers, maybe the RTDs. I don't do wine a lot in the middle of the day. It just feels like it's an end of day thing. But like, even for me, drinking 3 beers in 1 hour session like feels like a lot. So I'm choosing to put my attention on this little baby who is so good. I love her so much. I think there is some hoppiness, but it's not like the totally bitter, cloyingly dry. Like, I am not a huge, like, I don't want a double hopped, dry hopped double IPA. For me, that's really bitter and not that's not my taste, but I know that that is very much what a lot of other people like. And frankly, I think Go has like a double hopped IPA, so it's probably very, very hoppy. But that's the great thing. There's so many options now. They're innovating so much. I'm a big, big fan of their work, and I think we mentioned it in our pre-call. But do you want to spill the tea on their most recent development?
So last week, Go announced the partnership with a local brewery, which is going to allow them to 10x their production quite rapidly. And they also announced a partnership with a venture capital firm that's going to influx or interject funding and allow for some expansion and branding improvements and just overall growth. So they've got a lot going on right now, which is super exciting. And I think it's gonna go places very quickly, it sounds like.
It's gonna go places, indeed.
Didn't
Jared,
say that.
where did you come from? Like, and I asked this, like, what's your story? Why are you here?
I love craft beer. When I stumbled upon it in college in 2012, I hadn't drank much beer in my career as a drinker. I was a high school and college drink to get drunk kind of guy. Like not good. It was not for the fun. It was for the end result. When I stumbled upon craft beer in college, I took it upon myself with my roommates to try as much as we could because that was when like 6-pack bottles were becoming distributed, coming from all over the place, and there was a ton of different things popping up. So we tried 140 beers, 140 unique 6-packs in a year, and I tried everything. We put all the 6-pack boxes around our apartment room as like border, and we filled the whole house. And basically from then, so from 2012 to 2017, I drank beer every weekend, and that was just kind of my thing. And I tried all different types of beer.
So you were
I
a
got
freshman in 2012?
yeah. I'm
Oh,
34.
I feel old. I don't know if you, I'm
I got
41,
sober.
believe it or not. I know that I don't look it, sound it, act it, but yeah, I mean that's what 17 years of sobriety will do, I guess. It's a
So it
fountain of
was
youth.
2017. I stopped drinking because of some health stuff that popped up. I had some mental health struggles, and I was like, okay, let's take out this variable that's probably not healthy. I didn't drink. I don't know if I was labeled myself as an alcoholic. I know there's the AA, like if you drink too much, you're an alcoholic kind of thing. But I don't. I didn't do AA. I just kind of toughed it out. Didn't have anything besides juice beverages and sparkling water and all that. Like it was 7 years ago, I didn't even think to try an NA beer. And I don't know what would have been available. That was probably great when Athletic was starting.
Yeah.
Um, so from 2017 to 2019, I just kind of did my thing and was sober. And then 2019, I was like, I wonder if I could maybe have a little bit. So then I had a little bit, and then had some other mental health struggles that came about and came to a head, and it was like, okay, well, let's try that thing again called being sober and alcohol free. And now, almost 5 years later, I've been on the sobriety train. And last fall in October, I stumbled upon NA beer, and it was the 0.5% was holding me back. I thought that was going to trigger me. I thought that was going to be a negative interaction with my medication. I didn't know what to expect, so I stayed away from it. I drank a lot of hop water. I drank a lot of seltzers and whatever. Not so hard seltzers, but
Yeah,
sparkling
yeah.
water.
Well, seltzer by definition is not alcoholic, so I
Yeah.
got you.
Yep. So basically, when I stumbled upon the Brooklyn Brewing Special Effects Sampler Pack, I was like, okay, I'll try this. So there was 4 beers in there. I started right off the bat on YouTube talking about them. I had no experience with NA beer. I didn't know what I was talking about. My videos from
Was there
our
is there ABV? Is there like 0.5% in the Brooklyn Brewing?
yeah,
Okay,
yep.
so you were like, okay, let's give that a try
I was
now.
like, I was like, let's try NA beer, and I did. And within a month, I think I had amassed like 20 or 25 different like offerings, and I made a big tower, and I made an intro video for my channel, and I've got like all this stacks of beer, and I slowly chipped away at it and did reviews and started building out content, and then I did some brewery tours locally. I did the ABV technology
That's cool.
video and talked with them. Just kind of bounced around and used past relationships I created to get the next ones. And um, here we are 8 months later, and I've done 12,000 views on my channel and um, 56 videos and 85 beers reviewed. So it's
Wow.
been a lot of action, a lot of collaborations like this, and a lot of learning. And I've also done the AFNA certification through Megan Anderson's program. Um, and now we've got the Go Brewing ambassadorship in the past month, and it's just things are starting to go. So they're going.
They're going
So
well.
yeah,
Yes.
so 4.5 years officially sober, 8 months into the YouTube, Instagram push and initiative, and then 1 month into the Go Brewing relationship with the ambassador program. So yeah,
That's amazing. And well done for figuring out what works for you. And that's just the thing about this. Why I love what I love doing most in my own personal advocacy for this industry, but also for sobriety, is find what works for you. Because when I was getting sober, only one option was offered to me, and that was AA. By the way, it was very instrumental in my early days, my very, very early days. But it very soon for me stopped feeling like it was helping or like it was helping me level up. And I wanted the next thing, and there was no next thing. So for me, that's what led me down the path of eventually creating this sobriety blog that I referenced, and then eventually creating Zero Proof Nation and Booze Free in DC, because I wanted to be part of the change. I wanted to be part of this. I wanted to be able to provide options to people in a way that weren't offered to me. And there's only one person who can tell you what your label is, quote unquote, if you even have to have one. I've never identified as an alcoholic, but I did have a substance use disorder, which, by the way, and mental health issues galore, and neurodivergent issues as well, neurodiverse issues. The term substance use disorder didn't even exist when I was getting sober. You were an alcoholic or you were normal. Isn't that just so ironic to say, like, okay, you're normal if you can ingest this toxin and handle it and be around people and not get in trouble and not drive drunk and not do all these things, but you're not normal if you can't do those things. So even just the dialogue and language and discourse around the medical terminology has changed. And I've said it a couple of times, and I'll continue to say it as long as I'm able to, but I never thought I would be young enough to still be able to like enjoy this new movement, this new sobriety movement, this new moderate, like mindful drinking movement, and all of the beverages that are here. Like, I just didn't think that I would be able to see what we're seeing now, because I've just been in it so long, and it felt like, gosh, it's just, I think I said the other day, either it was to a friend or maybe it was on a podcast, I don't know, like I'm on a podcast circuit, as it were, but it felt like not only was I like pushing a boulder up a mountain, but it felt like I was pushing the mountain too. Like I just couldn't see what was going to happen next, because it was such a big, like, heavy lift. But so many people like me, and I will say, like, I feel like my work has been really, I mean, it feels weird and egotistical to say this, but I feel like my work has been like really important in this movement. But it's not the only I'm not the only person. You can't have a movement with one person. Like there have been so many people like you, like Derek Brown, like Chris Marshall, like Laura Willoughby in the UK. I mean, just all over the world that are making this type of lifestyle available and attractive to people no matter where they are on the sobriety spectrum. And so I'm still jazzed by it. I'm still excited for it, which means I'm still doing what I'm meant to be doing. And it's changing, and I'm always learning too. Like there's a lot of things that I still don't know, and that's kind of exciting to be able to learn still.
So I'm just thinking numbers. You mentioned 100,000. I mentioned 12,000. I think about for my content, if 1% of people that watched it, which is 120 people, if 1% of folks that watch any of my content derived something inherently that made them make a choice to either not have their next beer or to reach for an NA beer in place of it, and maybe strike the match in their head that, oh, this is viable, this could help me, like that's 120 people, or even 1/10%. That's 12 people. It's still a lot of people that I could be helping.
If it's just one person whose
Exactly.
life you made a difference in, that's a huge thing. And there was a woman on Instagram who I just love dearly. Her name is Erica, and she runs the Zero Proof Social in Dallas, I want to say, in Dallas, Texas. And she had said how she only had like 6 people show up to one of her last events, and how difficult it was, and made her question, like, am I still doing the right thing? And I told her, I had an event. I did the Curious Cocktail Party in May, and I only had 6 people show up to my event. And, it's me. Like, feel like people know who I am. And it was very, very humbling to only have that amount of people. But when I stepped back from it, for both me and what I said to her is, if you are providing an option that didn't exist before, like a socializing option, a beverage option, whatever, that didn't exist before for someone, you are changing one person's night. You could be changing one person's life. And if you only make a difference in one person or all of those 6, and then they have a ripple effect with the people in their lives, and you're still doing a major, major thing. And sometimes what I'm also realizing now, as I've gotten a little bit older, not old, but a little older, is that I enjoy smaller gatherings. I'm very much an introverted extrovert or an extroverted introvert. I dance on the line, and sometimes I just need a smaller gathering, a more intimate gathering, or even some alone time to recharge. And so sometimes you don't need to have like 50 or 100 people at every single event. Sometimes you want those sort of like family gatherings, if you will. So all that is to say that even if we make a difference in the life of one person or 2 people, I still think that is something worth celebrating, because that one person could end up being, the next YouTube channel creator, or the next like website person, where we're just making this lifestyle and these beverages more ubiquitous and more readily available, so that when someone else wants an option, whether it's a beverage, a socializing, like a social community, or just they want to be able to go somewhere online that's just different, they're going to have options. They're going to know what is out there. And I think that is something hugely worth celebrating, no matter how small or large our footprint is, if we can make the difference in the life of one person.
We've got
yes,
the Head on American Wheat, the Jab Jab Grapefruit. Thank you to Go Brewing for sending these our way for the conversation this afternoon.
Let's go.
Thank you, Laura, for joining. It's
Jarod.
Incredibly fun to hear your story, and insightful, and I love all the work you're doing. Keep it up. And looking forward to seeing more of your stuff on LinkedIn and see where things go. I said go one more time.
Yeah, you did. Well done. You have the right job. Okay. Well, thank you for having me, Jarod, and thanks again to the team at Go. I love you. You know that. Thank you for including me as well today. And let's go. Okay.
That's good.
All
Bye,
right.
Laura.
Bye. Bye.